Hi, my name is Jessica Martinez, and this is my final project, Questions That Connect. Question, Questions That Connect is a set of family conversation cards that I create to help families slow down and spend meaningful time together um, and have conversation that sometimes do not happen naturally in everyday life. For this project, I wanted to create something simple and practical, but also something families could actually use to strengthen their relationships. Why I created? The idea for this project came from something I believe is very important. Families can spend a lot of time together without always having meaningful conversation. There are so many things about a person, their memories, dreams, values, experiences that can go unspoken if we do not create a space to ask um, about them. I want to discuss to create that space. That purpose is not to have perfect answer. It is simply to give families an opportunity to ask meaningfully question, listen to each other, and reconnected. Um, Research to design principles. Before creating the cards, I researched communication, relationship building, curiosity, and intentional conversation. From that research, I identify some principles that guide the question I create. I wanted I wanted the question to be open-ended instead of question that could be answered with only yes or no. I also wanted them to encourage active listening and genuine curiosity. Another important part was emotional safety. The questions needed to create opportunities for people to share without feeling pressure or judges. The research helped me move from a general idea to having a clear guidance for writing and selecting the questions. From 60 ideas to 50 final questions. After the research, I started creating large banks, and I have more than 60 initial ideas. And then I review them carefully to choose the final 50 questions. For each question, I considered its conversation potential, whether it felt emotionally safe, and whether it's really fit to purpose of the project. I did not want um, all of the question to feel the same. I wanted some to be fun and easy, some to create deeper conversation, and others to help families turn their conversation into something they could actually do together. Um, Three ways to connect. That process led me to organize 50 cards into three categories. The Relax and Enjoy has 15 light and fun questions that encourage families to share memories, laugh, and enjoy the conversation. Connect has 20 questions that are a little more meaningful and encourage reflection and learning more about each other. And the last one is Create Together, has 15 question that help families turn conversations into plans, ideas, traditions, or shared experience. To, Together, the three categories create different ways for family to connect depending on what they need in that moment. From screen to physical prototype. Once the questions were ready, one of the biggest part of the project was turning what I had in my mind something real. And I have clear idea of the style and feeling I wanted, but create the actual product took a lot of adjustment and trial and error. Uh, and I designed the cards, the box, and the conversation guide. And then I print everything, cut the cards, and then assemble the first physical prototype. This was one of the most rewarding part of me because I was finally be able to see and hold something that had started just on my mind, the idea, just an idea. And okay, final articles. The final first edition include 50 original conversation cards divided in three code categories, uh, one print card box, and one conversation guide. And that guide explains how families can use the cards and include ideas for creating a safe space for the conversation. I wanted to the final product to feel complete and easy to use, not just like a collection of questions. The box, guide, categories, and card design all work together as one resources. Family testing. After completing the prototype, I wanted to know what will happen when families actually use it. 3 families tested the cards at home and then complete a short feedback survey about their experience. This was important because the project moved from something I had designed to something real families were actually using to have conversation. Their feedback helped me see what was working and also what I could improve in the future versions. Feedback and results. The overall satisfaction score from family feedback was 467 out of 5. Families describe the question as creative, fun, and meaningful. One family shared that even when they had different of opinions, the cards helped them talk through those differences, be more empathic. The feedback also gave me useful ideas for the next version. Families suggest adding more questions so the activity could last longer, balancing the number of questions between the categories, and making some of created together question later. I think this feedback was valuable because it showed me both the strain of the project and specific ways I can continue improve it. What I learned and what comes next. One of the biggest things this project confirmed for me is that meaningful conversation often needs to be intentional. Today, there are so many things competing for our attention, especially technology and our phones. Sometimes we need to intentionally create the time and space to really talk and listen to the people around us. And also, I learned that simple question can lead to meaningful connection, and that feedback does not mean a project fail. It can help turn a finished product into an even better next version. In the future, I would like to add more questions or improve the balance between the categories and possibly create other editions like for couples or parents and children, for friends and different stage of family lives. Before I finish, I want to show you what all of this work became. This is actual the first edition Question That Connect, and have these 3 categories. Um, Relax and enjoy, connect, and create together. And each card has one question, and the idea is very simple. Just choose a card, ask the question, listen each other, and allow the conversation to develop naturally. For example, in this one, say, what is one healthy habit our family could build together to improve our well-being? Choose one and create a realistic plan to support each other in making it part of your routine. And also, I create this guide to explain how to use the card and create a safe place for conversation on this box. And this box to keep everything together as a one complex resources. What I started as an idea for school project became something that real families could hold, use, and experience together. And I think that is what I value most about this project. These are only cars, but the cars are not really the important part. The conversation they can create are. Thank you for watching my final project.